way, there's something I've been wanting to ask you. Why do you love me?
どういう意味？
When you were in your universe, you could see the real Tails too, right? Your universe also had Sega, so in that sense, your perspective was the same as hers. So you must have started liking the real Tails first, and then you met me.
ふん。完全にそうではないかな。世はテイルスが好きなんであって、特定のテイルスだけが好きなわけではないんだ。例えば、ソニックブームのテイルスも同じように好きだよ。でも、君が一番のお気に入りなのは間違いないね。
I'm glad to hear you say that, but that's not what I meant. I mean, there must have been some process for you to start liking me, to start liking the character Tails, right? Even if you started liking me from the official Tails, what did you like about him?
なんで急にそんなこと聞くの？気になるの？
You know, many people beyond the fourth wall say that the real Tails' personality and characterization are always going back and forth. From the classic Sonic series to Sonic Adventure, then Heroes, Unleashed Generations, Colors, Lost World, Forces, all the way to Frontiers. There are often people who accuse the real Tails of being portrayed as a hero in Sonic Adventure, only to gradually return to being Sonic's follower and a coward. You must have seen all of that too, right? Actually, I've also experienced most of what he's been through. You know, the story points in my universe exist after Sonic Forces. It's the same divergence point as the universe where the me and the IDW comics exist. But after that, my universe was destroyed, and the continuity of the story between me and the real Tails was cut off there, so I didn't get to experience the story of Frontiers. So as everyone gradually starts to dislike me, why do you still love me so much?
まず、誰からも好かれることを強要するのは無理だってことを、君はきっと分かっているはずだよ。それに、世は本当のテイルスに起こった物語を知っているから君を好きになったわけではないんだ。
You didn't. Then why?
世のタイムラインでは、世は14歳の時に死んだんだ。ガーディアン計画の実験体として、死体にライトを注入されて蘇生した後、いわゆる社会的記憶のほとんどを忘れてしまったんだ。世は自分が誰なのか、家族がいるのか、蘇生前に何をしていたのかを覚えていない。でも、言語や行動、性格の記憶は残っていて、ミルクティーとフルーツティーを飲むのが好きなのは変わらなかった。世の地球はベックスに侵略されたけど、戦争は徐々に進行していったんだ。その頃、人類の精神文明はまだ崩壊していなかった。だからある日、世がビデオサイトを見ていたら、そのファンゲームを見つけたんだ。ソニック EXE。
What? You started liking me from a horror fan work? Do you like seeing me being tortured?
何言ってるのこのダメキツネ。最後まで聞いてよ。世はソニック EXE シリーズのストーリーや派生作品の存在に中立的なスタンスをとっていて、それを評価する基準はストーリーが良いかどうかだけなんだ。盲目的に奨励したり、安易に批判したりはしない。でも、それは世に重要な情報を与えてくれた。それは君の名前だよ。テイルス。やっと君の名前がテイルスだと分かったんだ。
Excuse? My name? I don't understand.
君を見た瞬間、失われた記憶の一部が目覚めたんだ。ぼんやりしていたけど、かすかに見えたんだ。子供の頃、ウェブゲームをプレイしたことを思い出したんだ。そこでは、たくさんのゲーム会社のキャラクターが集まって大乱闘していて、ちょうど大乱闘スマッシュブラザーズみたいだった。任天堂やセガ、SNK もあったと思う。そしてそのキャラクターの中に君もいたんだ。君は世が一番好きで使っていたキャラクターの一人で、ちなみに他の二人はカービとメタナイトだった。でもなぜか、世は君の名前を知らなかった。その記憶は成長とともに薄れ、 14歳の時には消えてしまった。今になってソニック EXE シリーズがその記憶を偶然呼び覚ましてくれて、やっと君が誰なのか分かったんだ。遠い時を超えてようやく君を見つけられたんだ。
Wait a minute, so you learned about me from a fighting game with no story, and you don't know anything about the real May's story at all? And in that situation, you fell in love with me so passionately?
一目惚れみたいだよね。外見で判断しているみたいに聞こえるかもしれないけど、でも世は君を好きになってから君のストーリーを知ったんだ。2本の尻尾を持つ狐を一目で好きにならない人なんているの？
You're not judging by appearance. You're just a simple love fool. Is there such a thing as unconditional love?
そんなこと言ったら君自身にブーメランのように返ってくるよ。ソニックが大好きなバカキツネさん。
Love at first sight might just be hormones at work. But after you learned about my story, after you learned about so many of my flaws, why do you still love me? Why don't you come to dislike me?
でもどうしてだろう。せっかく君についての記憶を取り戻したのに、君を手のひらに乗せるのに必死なのに、君の全てを知ったからといって君を捨てなきゃいけないの？正直言うと、そんなことをしたら世が嫌いなのは君なの？それとも世自身なの？
So you have no objections at all to my characterization? I'm a fan-created Tales after all, so I can make up for some of the flaws of the Tales in the official story with fan settings. But the real Tales is consistent. For better or worse, his story actually exists. You have no opinion at all?
全く意見がないといえばそうでもないよ。世は成人じゃないからね。でもそれがどうしたの？世は君が好きなんだ。でも君に欠点があるからといって君を捨てたり嫌ったりしたら、それはもう好きとは言えないよ。他の人の考えは気にしないけど、世はそんなことはしない。それに本当のテイルスのストーリーは第4の壁の向こう側の人の手の中にあるんだよ。彼は実際君ほど自由じゃないかもしれない。全ての間違いを君のせいにするのはそもそも不公平なんだ。キャラクターの革新については世もそれほど詳しくないんだ。どうしても聞きたいなら世はテイルスが好きなんだと言うしかないよ。確かに公式作品での君の振る舞いを見て嫌いになる人もいるかもしれない。でも世にとっては公式ストーリーがどんな風に君を描いても、ソニックブームみたいなキャラ設定が崩壊したギャグ作品でも、今世の目の前にいる君でも世は好きなんだ。世は受け入れられるし、君の全てを受け止められる。だって君たちは皆テイルスだから。世は本当に公式の脚本家が新作で何をやらかすかなんて気にしていないんだ。そう、公式がキャラクターを台無しにするのは客観的に存在する。でも世は君たちの金色の毛並みが好きで、君たちのふわふわの2本の尻尾が好きで、君たちのピクピク動く狐耳が好きなんだ。世はただキャラクターのストーリーの下に隠れた決して変わらない君たちの魂を愛したいだけなんだ。ソニックフロンティアで公式のテイルスが言っていたように、彼自身も自分の振る舞いが一貫していないと思っているんだ。でもそれがどうしたの？彼のソニックはそれで彼を嫌ったりしなかったよね。だから世も君を嫌ったりしないし、君たちの誰一人として嫌ったりしないし、君のどの時期も嫌ったりしない。世がアセンダントレルムで君に出会った時、世はこの寂しい宇宙がこんなに貴重な宝物を与えてくれるなんて思ってもみなかった。いつか君の毛並みを撫でながら、君とお互いを支え合う恋人になれるなんて、世は思ってもみなかった。君はテイルスで、世はテイルスが好きなんだ。それだけで10分。ただそれだけだ。
Huh. This is the first time I've heard someone describe lust at first sight as being so pure and refined. That's so you.
これはどんな老石な言葉なんだ？ 世は真剣に君に告白しているんだよ。
That's fine. If you love me so much, next time I'll teleport you to the alternate universe of secret history and let you get all lovey-dovey with the me over there.
勘弁してくれよ。じゃあ君自身のことを話そう。君は自分が経験した大きな出来事や選択のほとんどが本当のテールスと一致していると言ったけど、でも結局のところ君はパラコを去るた不死者で、心境も彼とは少し違うんだよね。ソニックフロンティアの公式テイルスは自分が一貫していないと思っていると言っていたけど、君は自分自身についてどう思っているの？君がそれらのストーリーを経験した時どう思ったの？
I am indeed a bit different from the real Tails. I don't want to be as independent as he does, because I've always been afraid that once I become independent, I'll have to leave Sonic's side, and I won't be able to protect his life with my own anymore. When the real Tails' characterization is inconsistent, it may be due to the scriptwriter's level. But I must have chosen the cowardly side while wavering. In order to stay by Sonic's side, I gave up being strong and chose to be a cowardly fox. I don't think I'm being inconsistent. On the contrary, for me, that's the path I chose for myself. In the major events that the real Tails and I experienced similarly, I did indeed make the exact same choices as him in most cases. But our motivations are probably different. I really did choose cowardice of my own accord. As you probably know, I also experienced the story from the Sonic Adventure era. Just like the real Tails, I also made up my mind when separated from Sonic, went alone to disarm Eggman's missile, and saved the residents of the city. The fate of Station Square depends on our Sonic, we have to! Sonic? Okay, let me save this damn city on my own. It shouldn't have appeared in my plan, but if this is what Sonic would do, then I will do it for him! Eggman, bring it on! The difference from the real Tails is that I didn't actually care about them that much. Just like they didn't care about me when I was bullied as a child. I never really liked this cold city, but I thought that's what Sonic would do. It's laughable, but when everyone thanked me, I really felt for a moment that I had become a real hero, that I had finally broken free from the nightmares of the past, that I had grown up.
Good job, buddy. I knew I could count on you.
No problem. But then, because of my stupid mistake, Eggman launched Sonic's prison capsule into space and destroyed it with an explosion. Sonic was dead? At least that's what we all thought at the time. The moment of the explosion, there was nothing in my head but a buzzing sound. Amy knelt on the ground crying and screaming, almost losing the will to fight. I couldn't even cry. What I was really thinking at the time was that if Sonic was dead, there was no point in me living. At least before I died, I had to take Eggman down with me. I had to avenge him. If Sonic was still alive, I wouldn't die. So I had to defeat Eggman, no matter how many times I died. And then I would go and rescue Sonic. Do you want to play with me? All right, Eggman! You want to fight? Let's go! Of course. What happened after that was the same as what the real Tails experienced. I defeated Eggman with my own strength, and Sonic wasn't actually dead either. On the surface, it seems like a happy ending, right? You're alive! But what was it really like? That experience didn't make me stronger, made me even more afraid to leave Sonic's side. The moment I thought Sonic was dead, that unimaginable sadness crushed me. The burning flower of flame awakened my deepest fear. I thought I saw the blurry faces of my dead parents swaying in the flames of the exploding space station. As if blaming me, I was just watching my loved ones turn to dust in space again. I just became a little independent, just moved a little away from Sonic, and he was about to leave me like this, leaving me alone in this lonely, crazy world. And it was all my responsibility because I couldn't save him. I should have saved him. I'm his closest sidekick, his best little buddy. If I could have stayed by his side all the time, I'm sure I could have saved him before we got into such a terrible situation. I'm smiling on the surface, but crying inside. I think how ridiculous my previous thoughts were. To think that I seriously believed it was such a good thing to grow up and become a full-fledged hero. So ridiculous. Even though I couldn't protect the person I love the most, for me, no matter how many people I save, it doesn't mean anything. I can't accept such a foolish trade-off of exchanging his life for the lives of others. In the end, after that experience, I became even more afraid to leave him. I thought that after being with Sonic for so many years, my PTSD should have been almost cured. At least, it wouldn't relapse so easily. However, now it has not only relapsed, but has gotten even worse. For a long time, the light of that explosion became a nightmare that wouldn't leave my mind. Just being away from Sonic for a little while makes me remember that terrible experience. Sonic, no, Trap. No, don't go! Sonic, no! Wait for me! I'm coming for you, Sonic! And I can't help but think, what if Sonic gets into danger? What if he couldn't escape that time? What if he really died that time? What if he encounters the same danger now as he did then?
What?
Oh. In the end, I'm different from the real Tails. My Sonic is also different from the real Sonic. Setting-wise, the life of that real Sonic is flawless. He has never died. He succeeds in every extremely difficult mission on the first try. He doesn't need any second chances, let alone talk about error tolerance. Because he is the protagonist, he is immortal. He doesn't really make mistakes, and he has no failure rate. But in my world, the possibility of death is real every time. Whether intentional or accidental, Eggman's robots and traps have killed my Sonic countless times, if I wasn't by his side exchanging my life for his. Not to mention those enemies who are even more ruthless than Eggman. They are more brutal than Eggman lack mercy, and their purpose from the beginning is to defeat and kill us. They've died at their hands quite a few times as well. But if it wasn't for me, the one who would have died would probably be Sonic. So I gave up on being independent and chose to become weaker. In the stories that followed, I quickly reverted back to my old self, becoming a fox who would absolutely stick by his side whenever I had the chance. As long as I could stay by his side, I didn't mind being a cowardly fox. As long as I could continue to protect him, I didn't mind being a fox that would never grow up. I could be a sidekick for life if that was the necessary price to pay to keep him alive. As long as he could live, it didn't matter what happened to me, and that wasn't a big deal at all. Embarrassingly, in my universe and story, my personality before being adopted by Sonic was probably more unruly than my later self.
でもそれは本当に弱さなのかな。君は弱さを選んだけど、それはソニックをもっと守るためだったんだよね。結局、君と本当のテイルスが一番違うところの一つは、君は本当にソニックを救うために何度も死んだってことだよ。よもよのタイムラインで何度も死んだ。何度もベックスに打ち砕かれて、何度も復活した。その痛みと感情がよくわかるよ。永遠の命を持っているからといって、世たちが苦しまないわけじゃないんだ。でも、その苦しみを何度も喜んで受け入れる君を、本当に弱いと呼べるのかな？カオスの前で頭を抱えてしゃがみ込むだけで、君の全人格を否定して、君の人生と努力を否定しなきゃいけないの？人生と人の心は、本来多様なものだよ。世たちは状況に影響されるし、ホルモンにも感情にも影響される。だからこそ人生って呼ばれるんだよ。世にとって良いストーリーは確かに君への感情を深めてくれる。でも、たとえストーリーがなくても、世の君への感情はストーリーを超越しているんだ。本当のテイルスでさえ、彼の人生をそう否定するのは、彼にとって本当に不公平だと思う。少なくとも、 世はそんなことはしないよ。
Maybe so, but thank you anyway. I'm really glad, and glad for the real Tales too, that we can be supported by you unconditionally like this. Even though we're so flawed. Even though we're so weak.
だって、恋する人の目には欠点も美点に見えるのは客観的に存在する本能的な反応なんだから。そして世は永遠に信じているよ。君のストーリーの欠点は、君の完璧な心が放つ光を隠すことはできないってことさ。
There's just one little thing.
何や。
Are these thoughts yours? Or hers?
それがどうして大事なの？
It matters a lot. If you can, please tell me.
わかったよ。それは世の考えでもあり、彼女の考えでもあるんだ。さっき世が君の記憶について話したことは、彼女が経験したことからインスピレーションを得たものの一つだった。でも、そのインスピレーションも世の物語の中で輝いているんだ。それは世の心からの考えの一部で、世の経験の一部なんだ。だから間違いなく、さっき世が言ったことは全部、世の本当の考えだよ。彼女に影響されたわけじゃない。安心して。
I'm not worried. Just wanted to know, that's all. Indeed, while one can't force others to like them, being liked is truly a blissful thing, isn't it? Thanks, Enai.
満足した？いっぱいいいこと聞けたでしょ？
I won't be completely satisfied until we rescue Sonic. But I guess I am a bit satisfied.